Last session, you all decided to make your way back to Altham's tower. You encountered a couple hazards on the road, but for the most part, it was a safe trip up until you arrived at a village that you've been to once before, Mulemold. The night that you decided to spend in the village was a harrowing one with shadow monsters creeping across the landscape and even attacking you in the middle of the night.
I don't remember an attack.
It would have been an attack if I rolled better. Anyways, with that night finished, it is the dawn of the next day, the 3rd of the year. It is a bitter cold, but it's not raining or anything, so.
Who has the crystal right now? Because I want to see it real quick. I want to see where it's pointing.
I think Teo has it.
It always ends up back with me in the bag of holding.
I just want to see where it is pointing us to. Namely, if it's in the direction of Altham's tower or not.
If you pull the crystal out of the chest, it is kind of tugging you northwest. More west than north.
Oh, I see.
Pointing
Okay.
that direction.
Okay.
Wonder what's in that direction, Mr. Pietro's abomination.
We could always find out.
Well, we're going to a tower first. That's the entire reason we're out here. So let's think about that later.
The last leg of the trip sees the party through a few days of dead trees and frozen environment. And could you all just make me a general perception check? Nice!
Oh, wow, okay.
Nice!
Alright, we have a definite theme here. But Q and Amberlosa would notice on the first day and the successive days that you are definitely you're definitely being followed by these shades. It's more noticeable in the areas where the dead trees and sparse it's definitely more noticeable in those areas than when you are just like following an actual path.
How close are they keeping to us, roughly? Like, spitting
Probably,
distance or a ways?
I'd say probably like 100, 150 feet out would be the closest you've seen them.
And how many?
It's kind of hard to take count of something like that because you're not entirely certain how many of the shadows are just shadows and how many of them are just hiding better than others. But I'd say you would definitely notice over the course of the first day, probably in the ballpark range of 12 to 20.
And they move with us if we stop. Do they keep moving or do they stop with us?
That would be what you would notice the first night you rest. They do not continue on. They stay with you. You arrive at Altham's the morning of the 9th. She is actually out of her tower. She has an easel set up and she appears to be painting until you get close enough for her to notice you.
Thought you just meant like she wasn't home. Like, where the fuck did she go?
Okay, time to break into a wizard's tower.
I'm sure that
You
would
know,
go
that'll
well.
go well.
Yeah.
No, I mean she is out of her tower.
She's physically outside of the tower. Okay.
Well, hopefully that's not the equivalent to locking yourself out of your car.
That'd be
Things are a lot worse if a wizard could lock themselves out of a wizard tower.
Hey, you know, it's probably happened before.
I left the keys in Airthal, swear to God.
I mean, I'll hit her with a yoo-hoo.
As is right and proper.
She'll wave back, but she's not gonna raise her voice. She'll just greet you when you get close enough.
Cool.
I see you've returned from Crow's Landing. Bit longer than I thought you were going to take.
We
Mr.
had to
Castellano?
we had to take the long route. Sorry about
Oh,
that.
we ran into a couple minor detours.
But did you successfully get the heart?
Yes.
Yes.
Well then, I have letters and packages for you, Mr. Castellano.
Oh, my thanks.
We should take this inside. And she's gonna pack up her easel and very carefully take the unfinished painting inside.
Teo,
Do-
is you
What was
like
the painting of? Could we tell?
Uh, didn't look like she was that far into it. It was mostly the background work done so far. It could have potentially been a landscape painting of some kind. It was definitely on the more fantasy end of things, even for a fantasy setting.
is Teo's like entire being like exterior temperature just matching the weather around him?
Does it?
Because this is playing into a bit of chaotic elven nature with her, and she would 100% like press a finger against his cheek just to see if like the marble is like cold like stone with the whole everything cold weather. It's a question she's had for a while, just hasn't done anything yet.
It's definitely colder than human flesh by a significant margin.
Can I
Right,
ask?
okay.
But
I
there
dare you to
is.
lick him and see what happens.
Wait, what?
Please do.
No, it's not in character.
Right, no, your anatomy is terrifying.
So I've heard, yes.
Well, anyways, I will provide
Like,
no explanation as to why, so let's go inside.
like he's warmer than the surrounding environment. He is not -4 degrees, but
Doesn't matter. It's enough.
Right, on y va.
Alright, you follow Altham into her tower. Right, well, you have definitely been on an adventure. Would you like to take the rest of the morning to decompress, or would you like to get immediately into matters of the crystal and what I have found in regards to your histories?
I don't know, Hastad.
I
Teo's
just-
Teo's the
I
only one she can look at, so
I feel really stupid, but I just turned my own head IRL to look at someone who isn't there in annoyed judgment and then realize that's not something you could see me do. But that is the action that Teo took.
Good.
Right. We might as well get to business first. Business before pleasure usually is always the best course of action.
Wonderful. Then, may I see the crystal?
Of course. And dig it out.
Alright. She's going to take the chest, open it. Cue. You can briefly hear the song. And then she's going
even if we're inside?
Yeah, you are not currently in you're not currently in civilization.
Oh, right. It's not just buildings, it's civilization. I'm gonna make the noise.
Could you not do that, please?
She'll snap the lid shut and tuck it in one of her sleeves.
Hmm. What exactly is it you plan to do with that?
I plan to give it one last look over to see if there's anything that I can personally do to purify it, although Baron and I are the same type of spellcaster, so I don't see myself being able to do anything he can't. And if that does nothing, I am hoping that the four of you are able to be employed.
Possibly.
I mean, I can help you look at it. I did it with Rufus. Tuned to it. Just gonna take out the little thing of cave water and like shake it. I don't think anyone else knows what that is. I'm just shaking a bottle of water.
Yeah.
You know, you continually do weird things around me, Q, and every time I'm still surprised.
Hmm?
I might actually take you up on that if you want to meet me in my study. You could definitely be there while I take a look at it. If nothing else, you could probably answer some questions of mine.
I mean, this sounds like Q's dream day. So,
For once you're being asked the questions, how the tables have turned on you.
I do have to ask you, what is that water from?
do you remember the vine monster? Not the first little set of vine monsters, the big one in the cave with the mushrooms. Amberlosa hated it. Rufus was there.
So the second...
The second vine monster.
Okay. You took water out of that?
Yeah, you drink it and it makes you see stuff. Well, you have to be focusing on something you want to learn more about. And sit, you meditate, you breathe. Rufus and I did it. It was very fun.
Rufus.
I learned a lot.
Right. Anyways. Shall we move on to what we're actually here for? Yes.
Your end of the bargain?
Pretty much, yes.
Right. Well, I did some digging and I asked some questions. I have to apologize for a small bit of deception involved in our first meeting. I was at least distantly aware of your existences,
Really?
but I didn't know much more than faces. I didn't even know the majority of your names. So I asked around with the other members of the Pistarce, and one second as I bring out my notes as Vanessa. Okay, Would you like to hear this all together, or would you like me to tell you separately? And this is all just the information that I've gathered. I can cast a spell, and I can recoup them. I can recoup most of the gold cost, but it will be a few days before the ingredients would be able to get in, or a few weeks before the ingredients would be able to get in, if the information that I give you isn't to your satisfaction.
I think I would prefer privately.
Ness and I are already going to be spending some time together, so she can tell me then.
Do you say as much as Q?
Yeah, I do.
Alright.
Privately sounds fine for me.
The vote's already been cast, so my voice really doesn't matter in this instance.
As if you were going to have your business aired in front of us, Amberlosa.
Well, I mean, you're such a trusting individual. I figured you'd be open to the idea.
Then who would like to
Funny.
go first?
I'll go first.
Right. Then she's going to take Carrion to the second floor.
I will ask Carrion to not beat someone up this time.
No promises.
And there they go.
1 hour later.
The master of the tower leads Emberlosa back down to the first floor and is I assume you're all sitting as you wait around, or is somebody just standing there awkwardly?
That would be
sitting.
Carrion standing there awkwardly.
That would be Carrion? Alright. Altham will gesture for everybody, gesture and offer everybody, tea, please sit, you're my guests, so forth and so on.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, Q, since you're going to be with me for the remaining day, I figure we can get yours out of the way in a minute. Before the rest of you split, however, I do have a bit of information to share with all of you that I didn't want to repeat 4 times.
Alright.
All of your histories that I've found have mostly been from before the events that led to the battlefield being created, the plague continuing, and all that fun stuff. As to your why you were there at the battlefield, which I feel is something that all of you are very concerned about, you were hired on by the leader of Deepest Stars, the guild that we work for.
Can you write that out? Sorry.
Oh, yeah. It's also it's their name in the journal where Altham and Baron and all them are
No.
under factions. That's just the official name of the faction.
Gotcha.
His name was Reineke Rosenberg, and using various methods, he employed all of you and convinced you that retrieving the heart and purifying it would be the only way to at least start to heal the land and the people of the plague. His theory was sound, but not entirely confirmed, and several of us questioned him in his decision to act so rashly. But unfortunately, he died alongside all of you. So any further questions as to his motive are unfortunately unknowable. I would offer you the chance to potentially speak with him if you were able to retrieve his body, but we haven't been able to find him searching through the battlefield in the days after it appeared. We don't even know if he was actually there.
Hmm.
I could mark his home on your map, but the wards, I haven't actually gone myself. The wards have, according to the adventurers that we've sent, been too strong for them to bypass.
You'll pardon my ignorance, but do wards not eventually decay over time?
Over time, yes. We haven't. The amount of time that has passed since his death, some of the wards may have started to fall, but if you wanted to be safe, we would probably wait another 2 or 3 before walking in ourselves.
2
2
or
or 3
3.
years.
I see no harm in you marking it for us just in case.
Alright. Let me move you all to the. Oh, you're already on the country map.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. His home, unfortunately, is right here.
Hmm.
Wait, where is here? I didn't see it.
I still have it up.
It's still up.
Oh. Oh.
Oh,
How
boy.
convenient.
What's his name again?
His name is Reinica Rosenberg. Here, I'll actually share him in the journal. Because
Oh, there's an M. God damn it.
I also messed that up. God damn it.
anyways, you've all learned information. You now have the afternoon to do with what you please, except for Q. Unless you have more questions for Vanessa.
Yeah, I'm done talking to that person.
She's done talking to you, don't worry.
Damn.
So, Q is not brought up to the second floor. Q is brought up all the way to the study, which is the top floor. So you're walking for a while.
I was gonna say I forgot how many floors were in this tower because it's the main floor that we're on, her basement, the
Oh, dude.
guest rooms.
Look at how tall this shit is.
I only remember 4 floors though. Is the thing.
There are 5 total. 1 second. Let me
Gotcha.
count. Yeah, there are 5 total. 6 if you count the basement.
Regardless, we're in this study.
Yeah, regardless, you're in the top floor. You could feasibly step out onto that rickety ass balcony.
Nah. I don't think she keeps up to building codes, honestly. The
Why do you
fire
need
marshal would not approve of this place.
Why do you need building codes when you have magic?
I feel like that's an extra reason to have building codes.
Alright, so after doing some asking around, I did manage to find a decent bit of information on you, actually. So,
Oh, lots of people
first
apparently know about me.
Oh, you found out more?
Well, there was Teo's. Okay, so she's not his fiance. She's his ward. Or something like that. She, I
A
think,
ward
knows
is an
who I am.
adopted child, not a fiance.
Everybody tells me that. It's just, for the longest time, everybody we were meeting was fiancés, so I guess I thought that was more normal than it was. But she knew who I was. this guy in Haven knew who I was. Baron had no idea who I was. He was useless.
That's generally the case, yeah.
But
Alright, so, and she's gonna pull out an honest to God note card. Here is what I have learned. I learned that your name was, Aradia Charon, and you were a folk hero in your own right in Haven. You apparently rose from relatively humble origins to a position of prominence in the military, and you were the commander during the Dragonspire incident that unfortunately resulted in the death of Prince Severin von Erthal. You were hired on by Ronica, like I said. But I can't exactly figure out why.
I mean, did he not tell you? Because I don't know why either. Everybody said that. Well, not everybody. The general said that I was supposed to be protecting the prince, but I got there. He said Teo killed him, and then
You cut out.
oh, basically I just said the general told me that I was supposed to protect the prince. We got there, Teo killed the prince, but then we left with Teo, and there wasn't much of an issue apparently. So I don't know why Renica hired me either. It's her guess.
Mr. Castellano was the commander of the assaulting forces, although I don't actually have a confirmation on who delivered the killing blow to the Prince von Erthal. And as for Veronica himself, this isn't something that we usually openly speak with outsiders, but I feel as time passes, it grows more blatantly obvious to the five of you. The guild that I work for, De Pistarsa, is not a group full of trust.
I mean, we've only met three of you. One of them, I'm pretty sure, actually stole our stuff. Another one also stole our stuff. Did you take something from? Well, you took our blood, but we gave that to you, so that's not really stealing. You seem all right. I like you.
Thank you, I'm fond of you too. I wish I could give you more information. More recent information. At least I was able to give you your distant past.
Do you know why the prince was at the Dragonspire?
Congratulations, Miss Charon. You have stumbled across the question of the ages.
Wait, nope. He didn't just like live there?
He was there a significant portion of the time, but he hadn't been there for several years since Haven had upped its military forces and essentially... backstory. Haven and the rest of Glycellin have never exactly been on the best terms, since Haven doesn't bow to Erthal and doesn't receive any aid from it in turn. The Dragonspire, however, is an ancient piece of Glycellin architecture with significant cultural value, and has also historically been one of the places where the royalty lives while not in the capital. As tensions with Haven increased, the Dragonspire was left empty for a few decades, and then one day he returned. And all hell broke loose less than a week later. The king himself has publicly declared that Prince Ervin suffered from a mental affliction shortly before leaving, and that he had been attempting to find the sleeping emperor, but
The what?
the sleeping emperor, he's one of the profane, a dead skeleton of a giant, larger than any giant though, like colossus, if such a thing would ever exist. It's exhibited low-grade signs of sentience, and occasionally somebody will get it into their head that they can wake him up. It's a fool's errand. I'm sorry, Q. I just blew her. I just
Yeah,
blew her mind.
I'm trying to write a lot of stuff down before I forget it.
Tell me if you need me to repeat anything.
I mean, the general gist of it is that nobody actually knows why the prince is at the dragons. Like, he came
Nobody.
effectively.
Yep. Nobody knows why the prince was the Dragonspire. Dropping Vanessa's speech patterns to just try and give you all the information that she could over the course of this conversation. The prince and king. Fuck,
Because
what's
the
his name?
king
Roland.
basically said that he went crazy because of the skeleton emperor.
Yes, that is what the king publicly said. The king publicly said that that is what he believes happened. All that people know happened for 100% certain is that, like, during Prince Severin and King Roland's childhood, the Dragonspire was more of basically, I don't want to say summer home, but basically a summer home.
Yeah, I wrote
And
down
it was
as royalty
abandoned.
vacation spot.
Yeah, and it was abandoned when tensions with Haven racketed up by a significant margin, as it tends to happen on pretty much a decade by decade basis. And he returned a week before he died. No, the only reasoning that anybody has managed to get is King Roland's public declaration as to what his exact motives were behind that. And as for the sleeping emperor himself, if you asked for the exact location, you would get that it is right here.
I mean, I'm on the tower. I can't see it right now.
Oh, you're on the tower. You can't see it right now. Back to the country map. Right here.
I knew there was going to be something there. Okay, I'm just going to remember that manually.
Come on, it's game design 101. You can't just put a valley in there and not put anything in the valley.
And then just to confirm what the general told me, he did explicitly say I was there to protect the prince. Like, they sent me to protect the prince, or at least make sure he didn't die. Or was I also sent there to kick him out, basically, if he wasn't supposed to be there?
If you share that with Altham, she'll say that it doesn't exactly sound out of the norm. Haven may have tension with Glycellin, but it is still, like, if Glycellin actually decided to come at them, they would absolutely crush the entire valley. So they're not just gonna murder their emperor or their king out of hand, you know?
Maybe I was
Like,
just serving him an eviction notice.
you could have been there to protect him and then politely kick him out of the valley, for all she's aware.
That's fair. Either way, I didn't want him dead.
But she doesn't think you would she doesn't think you would be there to actively murder the king's brother.
All right. Wow. The guild, does she know anything else about Rheinica?
Rheinica is
Like, why
Rheinica
did she sign up with Rheinica? Like, what did he have? What could he have?
when
could
you
he
ask
offer?
that question, when you ask that question, she gets real awkward and real quiet real quick. Before Research opportunities, mostly.
On the plague, but if he's trying to stop the plague, then he would be
Exactly.
trying to stop your own research opportunity.
Well, if we cure the plague, then I don't care that I don't have any more research opportunities. The
Well,
end
speaking
result
of,
is the cure.
I will say, speaking of, and I will pull out the brain tissue.
Alright, she's absolutely fascinated, and that's probably the best segue into the science that's going to be the
Yep.
rest of the afternoon.
Science.
Alright.
Science. Science. Science.
Welcome back.
Yep, Q's getting her science on.
That's
We were
fair.
right.
What are the rest of you up to?
Drinking tea and thinking.
Alright.
Obviously.
Are any of you doing anything other than drinking tea and pondering your life choices?
I might.
Pondering my life choices.
She had like a little library area, right?
Third floor, yeah.
Yeah, I'll go spend some time in there. Just, I don't know, read some books, I guess.
Because it's
Hey.
away from people.
Yeah,
Are you just reading whatever, or are you trying to find something specific?
I might see if she's got any information on the city of Kleinen.
Sure. Pocket guide to Glycellin?
Yeah.
You can get it at all the Glycellin gift shops.
The book that you find, the first book you find, you would be able to find that would give you a description of each of the cities would describe Kleinen as it is a naval city, but it is not. It's a coastal city, but it's not a naval city. Is a better phrasing. If you want the military naval city, you're gonna want to go to Arnsberg, which is pretty much all it has going for it. You know, up until the Navy deserted.
That's great for Onsberg's economy and morale.
Arnsberg isn't doing too hot, guys. Neither is Kleinen, but what Kleinen had going for it was the fact that due to its this is obviously phrased differently in the book, but due to its fantastic location, distance from the capital, and the relative rough environment that you have to pass through to get to anywhere else in Glycellin, it's basically a pirate's haven.
How many fucking
Okay.
pirates' havens exist in this goddamn country?
2. One on each coast.
Got a lot of pirates. Big business
This
in
is
pirating.
well, you see, the unfortunate thing about this country is if you had come to this country during its glory years, it would have been Sea of Serenity. This was a country that made almost all of its money on its navy and naval exports. And now there's a blockade.
Well, funny how that works. Shouldn't have relied on one thing and one thing only.
Well, there's also the
You gotta diversify
minor
your bonds.
problem in the minor problem in the center of the country going on.
Well, maybe that wouldn't have been a problem if they had expanded into more options than naval. Invest more heavily in druids and wizards, man. Or a land army.
I think we woke up in the middle of a
I
land
think we
army.
were the land army.
Well,
I mean, good for
It
us to
did-
not be the navy, I guess, in that scenario. I'd hate to have to spend the first 3 sessions swimming back to shore.
Here, description of Kleinen.
Left
sprawling
stroke, right
city.
stroke to shore.
A sprawling city nearly encompassing the valley it was founded in. Kleinen is, or not valley, coast it was founded on. Kleinen is the one true competitor Helmslow has in terms of business. It has also more recently gained an unsavory reputation as a den of pirates and mercenaries. It's easily defendable in remote location, paired nicely with the fact that it's the only Glycellan city facing the elven continent of Evataisi.
Where does this road go? Where does that lead?
I feel like it just
Which road? That road leads into the fucking... Which one is Chilu? Chilu!
Gesundheit.
It's the freaky druid country.
you don't have
Nice.
enough badges
Ah.
to make it past that trail.
If you try and make it past that trail, you will probably get eaten by a tree.
Then what is the point of that trail?
The people
And-
who wanted to travel before all the druids went crazy.
When was
Wait.
that?
Wait, so you weren't kidding? This entire country is literally full of insane druids. I thought that was an exaggeration.
No! No! The druids have
Oh.
gone insane.
Why does the Emporia even want this country?
Who knows?
They'd be
I
better off
really-
blockading the whole island and letting it burn.
Okay, I realize that we obviously have a lot of business and a lot of reasons to stay here, but Paco, I really want to go to Crazy Druid Land. I really want to know what's happening there.
I can
You thought
definitely make
Java was feral before.
I could definitely make a one shot or two in there.
I 100% want to get eaten by a fucking tree.
Okay.
Well,
Good to know.
I've had robbed at the treasury of the entire city.
For a significant portion of the treasury's overall
for
balance.
staff she gave away and now is apparently in the middle of the goddamn waste.
Oh yeah, where we know where that, like the name, it's Shadowfang Keep, but where is that on the map? I don't think we marked it.
Not Shadowfang Keep, goddammit.
Oh, I
That
legit thought it was
that-
called Shadowfang Keep.
that
No,
is
it's
from World of
Shadowkeep.
Warcraft.
Oh, oops.
That
I
is
mean,
a
I just-
dungeon in World of Warcraft.
I know it's a dungeon in World of Warcraft. I just figured it was the same name.
It's right there, my dude.
So everything's pointing towards us going to that awful place. I see.
We should
I
have just
see
done
how
it
it is.
beforehand on the way to Crow's Landing. We would have gotten all this out of the way.
No, we had no idea we needed to
We
go
would have gotten
there.
all this out of the way.
Also, you hadn't actually you hadn't actually been able to affect the past at that point,
Oh yeah, that's true.
so the staff wasn't there.
We'll try not to like visit the logistics of how that's even remotely possible, but it's fine.
Don't worry, it's not time travel.
I don't know how I feel about that, but all right.
I mean, it's not time travel.
Okay.
Zaz, I'm thinking through the actual like physical cosmological implications of that
Yeah,
statement.
it's. I was also thinking of the same thing while I was trying to figure out if it was valid for me to say it's not time travel.
Oh boy.
I think I'm valid. I'll have to decide. It's some gray area.
Oh,
Zaz,
boy.
you are valid.
Thank.
Maybe.
What are the rest of you doing with your day? If everybody is off doing their own thing, Q and Vanessa are going to spend the majority of the day. Honestly, she's going to ask. The first thing she's going to do is probably grill Q on every interaction she has had with the heart in as much detail as Q can provide.
I have these bullet points here of everything I'm going to tell Vanessa about whether she asks or not. Right? I'm also
Okay.
going to state these
Oh,
all
God.
end with exclamation points. Right? You can't see
Okay.
them because that's how I wrote them in my notes, but they all end with exclamation points, all right? We have
Okay.
mushroom redheaded serial killers, shadow people, mushroom brains and people, Zakshi and friends, that weird bug thing. Blast the
Zoxy?
past.
Yeah.
As much as I can remember before I went nuts. The cave water vision, plant monsters, magical tinnitus, The
God in heaven.
this big book I found. This other big book I found. What else do I have in here? I already said, oh, just the water in general. And then, yeah, everything in between. Theft. Violence. Too much for TV.
I'm not entirely certain how
Ready
much
to
of it
end
Q picks up
premature.
on, because Q is learning how social stuff works real fast, but I'm not entirely certain where she's at. Vanessa is 100% charmed as hell by your ability to just recite things in perfect clarity.
Oh boy.
You are making her scientist life right now.
Hmm.
So after a few hours of grilling and an arcane ritual that you can't participate in because you're not an arcane caster, so she'll do it on her own.
I'm providing moral support.
You're providing moral support. She's very appreciative of the moral support.
Is that what we call it these days?
And where the fuck did I put my dice? I'm sorry, I just moved everything in my room over the 2 weeks. And Vanessa.
She not do so good.
I would call a natural 2 not so good.
Retribution for your judgment.
You hush up. You deserved it. Probably.
She is going to.
Okay, sure, I deserved it. Foreigner.
She's going.
Convict.
I imagine this hits through gritted teeth as you're sipping from your, like, fine china teacups. There's not even any conversation lead up. You just look at each other and say these things.
This is
We
why
would-
Carrie went to the roof, guys.
We wouldn't have money if I didn't get us a job immediately. Well, that benefited us both.
Be that as it may, we can't go to many cities where you're wanted now, can we?
Well, luckily I have a way around that.
Hmm. So do I, but I'm not willing to share at this point in time.
Yes, we'd like to move this statue. It was carved from exquisite stone. I'm sure they would make wonderful decoration at the cathedral here.
Her ritual, unfortunately, fizzles.
Yikes.
And she looks momentarily embarrassed before straightening her robes and giving a. I can try this again tomorrow.
Or I'm gonna take out the cave water. You can try this right
Oh
now.
my god.
Q.
Mhm.
Does that have her herbs in it?
Isn't it? Didn't we? I thought we just drank it straight. Wait, I actually wrote this down.
She did steep it.
Then yes, it would. Yeah,
It does?
yeah, because I would have made another one to do it later. Is what I wrote. I thought I just needed
Oh
water.
my god.
Oh god, you're gonna get the fucking wizard high.
Well, at the very least.
Vanessa is very aware of Ruvith's particular brand of shenanigans.
Is that what we call druidcraft nowadays?
Am I the fucking person from every like 90s Dare to like Dare to Say No ad where I'm like, come on, be cool.
No, she is going to explain the concept of drug use to you.
God.
And explain that while Rubiths may have magical side effects, they're not Vanessa Speed.
Not Vanessa's speed, maybe not the best phrasing for a conversation about magical drug use.
That was exactly why I used that phrasing. What are you talking about?
Alright guys, I think I know what's in her basement now. It's meth.
Oh. Oh, good.
How do you think wizards stay awake for so long?
I was gonna say, how do you think Vanessa makes all the money?
Of course. Vanessa is actually just a walking analog for Breaking Bad.
Out of character, I did have an incredibly detailed Magica potion rule set that I was going to use for Exarch, but I discarded it for Blake's sake because it was too close to drug use for what I felt comfortable with.
That's fair.
It was totally based on meth, by the way. Meth and Adderall.
Oh, dear Lord. in
Oh
heaven.
boy.
Ah, yes.
Oh boy.
It's fine.
That's why wizards that are slightly aged are crazy.
Yeah, that's totally the only reason.
But yeah, that is the only spell slot of that level that she has available per day, unfortunately. So she can try tomorrow.
I mean,
But
I can just pick it up and like
also-
mess around with it. See if that does
Yeah.
anything. I know this
Worry
didn't do
about-
anything when we were at Ruva's house, but I'm gonna start tapping it on random objects in Vanessa's lab.
okay.
I worry about your life choices, Q. I do. I really do.
It worked in Barons. It got me not arrested. I mixed something in that one day. I don't know if he like inhaled some toxic fumes later, but
Boy.
I put a liquid in another liquid. Something happened.
She is definitely going to ask that you do not tap the harp in the corner with that. What other items would
She's got a
potentially have
harp. She's got an easel. God, this woman's a Renaissance woman.
that? She can't actually play the harp if it helps.
Well, no one would know that.
I
They
say,
see a
yeah,
harp
she's
and they're
the,
just
she's the
gonna
only one
assume.
here. She doesn't need to know how to play the harp.
She's going to ask you not to touch the harp to it. She's going to ask you not to touch it to the battle axe hanging off the wall.
Hmm.
Or the sword next to it. Those are the 3 items that she'd ask you not to.
Alright.
There is no response to you tapping it on anything else.
Is it
So I was
still...
mistaken. It's not a battle axe. It's a great sword.
Ah,
So there's a
huge.
great
I'm
sword and
missing-
a normal sword?
Yeah, it's a great sword and a one-handed sword. I just read the 2H and the name made me think it was an axe.
And then just to confirm, it's still pointing, like obviously would it still be pointing northwest or would it now be pointing southwest? Because we moved past.
It is currently pointing southwest.
Wait, we're in a tower. Does she have a binoculars? Spyglass?
Why did you pronounce
Has she got those glass lenses that are ground such that things at a distance can be magnified? I've seen them. The glassmiths down in Brighton make them all the time. This
Couldn't
Dutch
she-
fellow by Van Leeuwenhoek.
Stop.
Sorry, keep going.
She would actually keep the spyglass in that floor because it's the top floor. So yeah.
I mean,
She does have a spyglass.
I don't know how far I can see from up here, but is there anything that direction? If I go out on this sketchy ass balcony?
Are you joining Carrion out there?
I mean, not like I don't want to put too much weight on this thing.
Okay, so you're making sure to stay clear of Carrion.
Yeah.
All right, you step out onto the sketchy balcony, and it creaks under your weight.
Why does she even have that balcony?
What if she wants to paint up here instead of on the ground floor? It's got a better view.
Infinitely more danger.
That's
She
what
can
makes it
fly.
fun.
She's a wizard.
Oh, Lord.
I just turn around and give Hugh a look like, can I help you?
Q
I'll wave.
immediately sticks the spyglass to her eye and glances in the direction that the heart is telling her to go.
Heart of the cards. Believe in the heart of the cards.
Uh, from this distance, it's not like there is some grand golden city on the skyline perfectly beckoning you. The wasteland itself is a desolate and depressing sight to stare out on.
Next question, if I stop looking there and start looking down, do I see shadow people?
Perception check.
I guess one of us should have informed Vanessa about that particular
I
issue.
did tell her
up
about the
front.
shadow people. That was an
Okay.
exclamation point.
Okay, as long
I
as that
did hear it in the exclamation points.
as long as that was mentioned.
You don't see any, but it's also the middle of the day.
That's fair.
Like it's pretty much noon right now.
All right, I'll go back inside. Unless, do you want to take a look, Carrion? I have a spyglass here. I'm gonna look at Carrion through the spyglass. Do I see anything different? Or is it
She's very magnified.
very purple? Gotcha.
Ooh, what are you doing?
Oh, whoa, your mouth looks really weird when you talk.
Kind of bare my fangs a little bit.
Whoa. You have something stuck in your teeth.
Close my mouth.
Do you actually want to take a look with the spyglass?
Is this a special spyglass?
Is this a special spyglass, Vanessa? I
No.
don't know. No.
No.
It makes things look bigger though. I mean, you're already pretty big, so maybe like it won't look as big to you as it does to me, but like
God, the way you're phrasing things at Carrion is just.
Leave me alone, please.
okay. I mean, I'll leave Carrion alone and I will go back inside.
All right. You you go through the rest of this day in that manner. The rest of the day in this manner. Sorry, words. And it is probably around now that I'm gonna end